Being an employee of Blizzard over the last year and a half has not proven to be the most ideal scenario. Anyone who's been keeping up in the gaming space has bear witness to the shit show carousel that has been the Blizzard's executive boards and marketing departments. I won't get into the specifics of some of these more heinous actions, so if you want to get into the nitty gritty, you can find plenty of articles that detail everything. Just do a quick Google search. I'm here to highlight Blizzard's most recent ass-backwards decisions revolving around their two hottest titles, being Diablo Immortal and Overwatch 2. As someone who's come onto the Overwatch scene years after its initial launch in 2016, I had a lot of catching up to do. I learned the hard way that class-based shooters were an entirely new beast, and I set out to be the best thrower I can be.
Just trying to play the game, get people just throwing.
I hope your whole family gets cancer, dude.
Just kidding. But the game does have its issues, and despite them, I still couldn't get enough. It was an easy game to fall in love with.
Wow! Okay!
And some previous roommates of mine might even proclaim I had a wee bit obsession for some time. The game had me by the balls. And then slowly, the grip began to loosen as the lack of content, the repetitive events, and the dried up well of info on its sequel began to push me further away. And my balls. Then, finally, Overwatch 2's beta came swooping in to save the community and reignite the casual audience's interest in this once unstoppable title. The beta came and went, and that's when the reality began to set in. What were we left with afterwards? Good question. In all of Blizzard's gleaming marketing glory, they decided to keep Overwatch 1 as is, with no future updates or heroes to look forward to. No new content. They gave up on the game. And yet, they decided to tickle our balls as they decided to have the Overwatch League, the professional competitive scene, run on the sequel's updated PvP. So, while we're all stuck, still forced to play a decrepit old model that's being left to die on the wayside, at least we get to watch a slightly updated version of something that's been in development for years. I can only imagine the frustration of fans of the game who have been here since the beginning over 6 years ago. And even despite the PvP being free upon release for Overwatch 1 owners, it still doesn't mean much for your current popularity or lack thereof among the casual gaming community. Giving Twitch's premier streamers beta codes in an attempt to spread the word for their team-based shooter title hasn't really paid off, as the very streamers quickly realized they were just fucking playing Overwatch 1, with slight tweaks and a new coat of glossy paint. Fans who stuck around have every right to question the decisions Blizzard's marketing teams have come to make. Slight reworks to heroes and a couple new maps, some old maps just in the daytime, and only showing off one new hero, that's just not enough, even for someone like myself who has had a third of the time invested. We were like little tiny hamsters being drip-fed info on the sequel for years, only to finally reach the near end and be told to enjoy what we have because it's still better than nothing, and because it's gonna be free. I wish I could keep on with the questionable tactics by the big-time developer in regards to Overwatch 2, and in the future it might warrant a whole video itself, but sadly, they've gone and made things even worse for themselves. To say the Diablo franchise has been in dire straits over the last 5 years might be a bit of an understatement. This week has seen the release of Diablo Immortal, a mobile version of the next installment in the uber popular action RPG dungeon franchise. You got that right. In 2018, when the game was first announced at BlizzCon, which is a convention that's just a public forum for Blizzard to jerk themselves off every year, it was met with, well, boos, obviously, due in large part to fans wanting a full-fledged PC release and not some watered-down mobile version of something they've been waiting years for that they knew was just a quick cash grab because of the name. So, the game is finally here, and what has Blizzard decided to go and do?
What? You're just ruining it. Look at my lips. You're ruining it.
I'll tell you. They, like many other AAA developers, allowed their greed to overshadow what is supposed to be the revival of one of their most beloved franchises. Pay to win is a model that has unfortunately been adapted in gaming over the last decade, with mobile games being some of the most egregious subscribers. It is understandable for smaller developers to include a game shop where cosmetics, power-ups, and other game modes can be purchased in exchange for real-world cash. Is it a fair practice? There's an argument to be made for both sides. Smaller devs benefit tremendously from in-game purchases, especially when their games are usually free or only a couple bucks. Someone who feels inclined to support the development team can do so while also adding a fun or entertaining little component to the game. But it won't break the game. It won't make it unfair. This in turn allows these smaller teams to acquire the funding possible to create future titles and make improvements to their existing ones. Then you have examples such as Diablo Immortal. I won't begin to masquerade as a diehard fan of the franchise, but as a gamer like many of you, seeing headlines such as it costs $110,000 to fully gear up in Diablo Immortal, yeah, that would make anyone's cheeks clench up in fury. That's right, you heard that correctly. Over $110K to fully upgrade gear in-game. The game itself, of course, has other methods of leveling up gear that would require grinding through the game's XP progression system, which is a staple of any game in the genre, and is also an intricate part of the franchise itself. What isn't is the necessity to use real-life currency to exchange for in-game legendary chests that are nearly inaccessible even with heavy amounts of grinding. Grinding hours upon hours on a mobile game. My sciatica is just flaring up saying it. Even more hilarious, get this guys, you know what's really funny? The legendary chest that you pay real money to get, to open, doesn't even guarantee that you'll receive the coveted legendary gems that are what players are spending their money to acquire. Yes, there are other games out there doing the exact same thing, and those who have been doing it for years. But for a AAA developer like Big Daddy Blizz to implement something like this, considering they have the money to shell out, scooping up Activision through monster deals, the hopeful Diablo fans just want to enjoy the game without some pay-to-win option looming over them. That seems fair to me. Seems fair to you, right? It doesn't seem fair to Blizz. There's absolutely no defense for something as ridiculous as this. It's even more embarrassing considering Blizzard has already been dealing with the backlash from the Overwatch community, and now they've gone and given Diablo fans yet another reason to be pissed, and rightfully so. The game itself has been received well by the community, and is a sign of a step in the right direction for the franchise. Those who choose to ignore what Blizzard has opted to include in the in-game store because they want a casual experience and never plan on dropping any of their money for upgrades should be encouraged to do so. Enjoy the game at your leisure. That's what it's there for. But it's when fans try to defend practices like this, that's when it needs to be called out. Shit like this shouldn't fly for any game. $110,000, that should set off so many alarms in so many people's heads. There should be outrage, and there has been on YouTube, rightfully so. But of course, there's still going to be the people that defend it. The people that say, well, you could just play the game and get it anyways. What's the big deal? When they start charging $30 for Overwatch skins, then you'll see what the big deal is. Anyways, guys, comment below. Let me know if you're currently playing Diablo Immortal and if you see any of the issues with the pay-to-win aspect. Also, is anyone still in the Overwatch 2 hype train? Comment down below. Like and subscribe for more, and don't forget that pesky little notification bell so you can roll your eyes as I upload more videos. Well, is that it? Yeah, that's it.